What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to my first build video for Borderlands 4. As you can see, this is going to be a Rafa build. I'll probably call it Shotgun Lancer Rafa or something because it largely centers around Apophis Lance and shotguns. It's a very good build. It's a very versatile build. It can use a wide variety of gear. It doesn't really need any specific gear except for the Dancer. We can reach 100% crit chance with no crit knife, and it's again, good for all content in the game. You don't have to be a good shot with it. It's just very, very effective. Now, before we get into the build, if you want to find a written version of this guide that goes in more depth, I will link to the Mobalytics guide. I will link that in the description and in the comments. I highly recommend checking that out. Go over there, show it some love. Mobalytics has a ton of good information. Genuinely, they've got like shift codes. They've got where to find all the legendaries. They've got even like pages with advice on synergies for the weapons. So I do recommend checking it out. Future Garnet here. Okay, comrades, when I first made this build, I forgot that critical hit chance damage does not benefit fully from the critical hit formula. So that means like penetrator on the crit knife, or in our case, brain dump, it does not benefit fully from the critical hit formula. And the important thing to remember is critical hit damage from like an enhancement, even like the passives or the firmwares, or I think even on the item card, or like on the passives on like a class mod, that will not actually benefit critical hit chance damage. That will only benefit regular critical hits whenever you actually hit a weak spot. I will link to Lazy Data's video, which covers this in more depth. There's nothing really too important to know about this for this build. It doesn't really affect it that much, but for example, in the gameplay section, I used Deadeye, even though Deadeye will not actually benefit this build. But when we get to the firmwares, I'll explain which ones to take. Just know that whenever I recorded the gameplay, I forgot about that, and that's why I was using Deadeye. But do know that the build was so good, it didn't matter anyway, so it still kind of makes the build look better. To start with the build here, I want to first talk about the 100% crit chance. So to achieve this without the crit knife, and by the way, I'm recording this after the balance patch that recently came out. It is currently October 24th. How we achieve 100% crit chance is just with the Dancer. That's the only piece of gear you need to do this. So you can see it says overdrive bonuses are increased by 100%. And overdrive ends whenever Rafa's action skill ends. So normally overdrive will persist for a while, I guess 12 seconds after the action skill ends. With this, overdrive is really strong, but it does end when the action skill is over. However, we're using Apophis Lance, and we can make it last for forever, because it's going to be really easy for us to get critical hits. And then we have the skill Juerga, I guess. Whenever Rafa critically hits an enemy, action skill duration is restored. And you'll see this thing can last forever, guys. This has really become my go-to Rafa build. How we achieve 100% crit chance. So first of all, we have brain dump here, which you can see it just says critical chance plus 15%. Then we have Jacques here. Whenever Rafa damages an enemy with a skill, he gains a stack. For every stack, he gains increased overdrive bonuses. Now, the great thing about this is the bonuses last until your action skill ends. So look at the icon of Jacques here. It's like 3 shields with like an up arrow. So we will get a stack every single time we shoot one. No, excuse me. We'll get 2 stacks every time we shoot once. So you can see we're at 2, 4, 6. So it's very easy to build these up between your action skills, right? So we can just do this, and now we're already at 20 stacks, and those will be permanent until we activate our action skill, and then until it ends. So it's very easy to get that. So now we've got this, and this will give us overdrive bonuses to everything. So now we have brain dump to plus 23%, right? Now, of course, this is without Soltado. Now, Soltado here is the skill. It says it's a kill skill, double all overdrive bonuses. So whenever you get a kill, Soltado will activate. You can see we have a point in it from our Dancer class mod. These skills on the Dancer so much don't matter. It's mostly just Soltado. And by the way, Borderlands 4 is like Borderlands 3. You don't have to actually put points into the skill to activate it. It will be active from the class mod alone, you know what I mean? And also, there seems to be no benefit from putting another point into Soltado. From my testing, it didn't seem to do anything. So we will go ahead and activate the action skill. So now our action skill is active. And if we go and look back at brain dump here, you can see it says plus 45%. So now we'll go ahead, and you can see we still have the 20 stacks of Jacques. And now with the kill skill active, with Soldado active, we have plus 75%. So that's plus 75% right there. And for the final 25% to achieve 100%, we need Oho Rojo here. Whenever Rafa damages an enemy with Apophis Lance, he gains further increased critical hit chance plus 25%. So this is going to be the gameplay flow with this. Whenever you activate your action skill, you will shoot once with this, and this will put you at 100% crit chance. I don't think it updates Brain Dump, but you can see as we shoot, it is 100% for the next 8 seconds. And what we will do is, since we are also spec'd into El Soldado here, which is an overdrive skill, it gains increased gun damage while overdrive is active, and the bonus is doubled while Rafa is charging Apophis Lance. So you will just shoot once and then start charging, and you'll have 100% crit chance and just crazy damage. And you can see where we're getting critical hits right there. The duration of the action skill keeps going up, right? So we can stay in this for forever. Now you can see occasionally one of them doesn't register as a critical hit. Again, we only have the full critical hit chance while our kill skills are up, and for the 8 seconds after shooting the Apophis Lance once. But honestly, that's enough. It sounds like you have to do a lot to get that 100% chance, but you really don't. When we get to the gameplay section, you'll see I keep it up for forever. And then see, when we shoot there and the action skill ends, that's when we lose the stacks of Jacques. But again, it's very easy to get them back. Just while we wait for the action skill to come back, which doesn't take very long, we can just get the skills back, because again, it only takes... Oh wow, did we just get 4 right there? So it's very easy to build them back up. So that's kind of the overview. I'll go more in depth as we go, by the skills and the gear and stuff. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get started going over each of the skills here. So first of all, we just have Rinse. This is just really good reload speed. Well, let me back up 1 second. The reason I'm using Jacob's shotguns mostly is because I just feel like they synergize very well with all of this. The one downside to this build is it can feel a little awkward to shoot while holding the Apophis Lance charge, and I just feel like shotguns are the easiest way to do that. And then again, you don't have to only use shotguns. There's some other good stuff, like the 7th Sense is deadly with this weapon. But again, I would recommend Jacob's weapons, which are easy to hip fire basically, and that it just happens to be stuff like shotguns and the 7th Sense. And we're also benefiting from Vitriol and First Impression, which give us damage on our first shot fired. I'll talk about that more in a second here. So it's not that you only have to use this gear. I just feel like this is the gear that synergizes the best with it, especially with the enhancement, which again, I will talk about here in a second. So anyway, back to the skills. We have Rinse here. So this is just reload speed, which is really nice for us because we'll be reloading after almost every single shot. Then we have Preparado here. And you can see whenever we reload our gun, we gain increased action skill cooldown rate, which stacks up to 3 times. Getting our action skill back quickly is like the center of this build, right? Because we want it back as quickly as humanly possible, because our whole entire build centers around using it, right? So this will help us get it. Now, again, First Impression, again, great for low magazine weapons. The first shot fired from a fully loaded magazine gains increased gun damage, plus 50% right there. So Hellwalker, Hot Slugger, even like the non-unique, like I've got a Dolahan here, all of that stuff is good. So again, this build is very versatile. You can use all of this different kinds of gear, which again, you can check Mobalytics to find where all of this stuff drops. And then I've got 1 point in Al Centro here. This gives us increased gun handling while our action skill is active. And I honestly found that 1 point was enough to, combat our accuracy losses. Now, if you end up finding that with, the weapons you're using, it's not quite enough, you could take a few points out of Vitriol if you wanted to and boost it, but I find that 1 point is enough. Now, I only had 3 points left over for Vitriol, so I could only put 3 points in it. But again, with First Impression, we're still getting a crap ton of damage on our first shot. Then again, with these skills here, we have Brain Dump. I kind of already explained how it will help us reach 100% crit chance. And again, with Ojo Rojo. So again, the gameplay loop is basically just activate the action skill, shoot once, and then just start charging. Even if you only have 1 shot left, you can still charge it, by the way, so don't worry about that. And why we want to charge it is, again, we have El Soldado here, which will give us massive damage while we're charging Apophis Lance. So it's going to work together really nicely. Now, again, we have Jacques here, which just gives us overdrive bonuses to everything. We do have 2 free points in the Thrill from my class mod. It's not really doing much, it just boosts fire rate. Again, the skills on the Dancer aren't so much the point, except for Soltado, so I don't really think it matters that much, honestly. And then Citiar, I'm gonna have to take a Spanish class or something, man. This guy's skills are killing me. But it's just flat gun damage. Juerga. This is really good. Again, whenever we get a critical hit, we get action skill cooldown duration restored. And again, since we're operating usually at 75 to 100% crit chance, we can just make Apophis Lance last for forever, and you will see that during the gameplay section. Resiliencia, this is an overdrive skill that gives us damage reduction while overdrive is active. Now remember, we will get massive bonuses to this with Soltado and Jacques. So this is a very survivable build too. And then again, I had 3 points left over for Vitriol, which will be active on almost every single shot we get because we're using mostly low magazine weapons that reload after every shot, right? Now again, I only had 3 points. You could maybe take a point out of something else, but I honestly found this was the best distribution. And again, we have so much damage, we're not really missing those other 2 points, you know. Now, obviously, the level cap will be increased at some point, and then at that point, I can update this build, and you know we can probably take more points there anyway. All right, now for the enhancements, Jacobs has 4 enhancements. They have Bounce Pass, Leaper, Piercer, and Sequencer. So for us, the ones that we want are Bounce Pass and Piercer. There's even a legendary Jacobs enhancement, I believe called the Quintain, that can have both of them. So if you can get that one, that is ideal. However, I only have one with Bounce Pass here, and that was still very good. Again, we have really good single shot damage, so Bounce Pass was still very good for us. Piercer is the one that gives your Jacobs weapons a 20% chance to grant a critical hit. Just remember, if you're using Piercer, to swap out of Ojo Rojo and take Sangre por Sangre instead, because you'll already have 95% crit chance, and you might as well just take Sangre por Sangre, which will give you action skill cooldown rate. Now, we don't want Leaper because this is the one with Jacob's weapons. Weapons with Jacob's licensed parts gain a 40% chance to ricochet non-critical hits. We're almost always going to critically hit. And then Sequencer, again, what I mentioned at the start of the video, where we are hitting critical hit chance damage, we will not actually benefit from the critical hit damage of Sequencer. So again, if you can get the legendary enhancement that has Piercer and Bounce Pass, that would be ideal. If not, either Piercer or Bounce Pass will both still be very good for this. Now for the passives, again, this is just the best one I had. Like I said, the critical hit damage is not actually going to benefit us most of the time, but you know, just whatever you have, it honestly doesn't really matter. You'll see when we get to the gameplay, I was murdering enemies even though I've got very bad passives. So like on my Dancer here though, I've got reload speed and action skill cooldown rate, which is good, but that is just something to bear in mind. So again, for the weapons, I would recommend stuff like the Hellwalker, the Slugger, even the non-uniques are really good. The Dolahan, this is a shotgun with, this one has 1 shot in the mag. I think Rokar gave this to me. Thank you, Rokar. My subs have been very supportive. They've helped me out with a lot of this gear. Again, the 7th Sense is really good with this. Now, obviously, the spread launcher is super good too, and it actually has the most damage whenever you have only 1 shot in the mag. So that is really good with this too. So this all just synergizes really nicely. The spread launcher is super good for like vile enemies and just bosses and stuff in general. So all of that kind of stuff is good. Now for the rep kit, again, a lot of this other gear doesn't matter, guys. Let me just talk about the Dancer first. The Dancer is really the only other specific gear that you need, because our build is basically built entirely around it, right? Now, I've got good passives here, reload speed and action skill cooldown rate, but honestly, it wouldn't really matter. And then again, the skills on the Dancer don't matter so much. It's just Soltado, I believe that skill is called. Yeah, I think the Dancer always has that. I'm not sure about that, but you do have to make sure it has that. All right, so now we need to talk about the rep kit, the shield, and the ordnance. Honestly, guys, it doesn't matter. Just take whatever you want, use your favorites. I'll talk about mine. My favorite rep kit is the triple bypass, which just has 3 charges, and when you get a kill, it has a 30% chance to replenish a charge. For the rolls on it, if you can get one with like an amp, that will give you, you know, big damage on your next shot, which is like super deadly with the underbarrel. There's ones that give you like action skill cooldown rate. Some just, I think one's called health burst that just gives you extra healing. Like any of that would work. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Again, you can kind of use your favorite. For your ordnance, again, we're not going to be using ordinances very much because you can actually not use an ordinance while your Apophis Lance is out. So for us, the only time we're going to be using it is outside of it, and we're not going to be outside of it very much. So does it really matter? I would maybe recommend just a strong ordinance to use after your action skill ends. Maybe like a bottled lightning, maybe whatever your favorite grenade is. It doesn't really matter. I'm using the crit knife here just for the firmware roll. And then finally the shield. Again, guys, just use your favorite defensive shield. I have kind of gravitated towards the Cinder Shelly. Not only does it flirt with you, which is really nice, it's honestly just a good defensive shield. I have found that I've got very good survivability with this. You can see the special ability says glass. When damaged, grants a stack of resolve that reduces damage taken by 2% per stack, up to 25 stacks. And when the energy shield breaks, it releases a Nova that deals 7,000 damage with each stack of resolve, increasing the damage by 20%. But I've honestly found that this shield gives me pretty good survivability. And again, it does flirt with you, which is nice. But again, if you have, a shield that you like using better, again, guys, this build is so flexible. You can use so much different gear. Again, the main thing is just the Dancer and the Jacob's weaponry with the low magazines and the, Jacob's enhancements. That's the main thing. All right, now for the firmwares, again, I mistakenly used Deadeye at first, which honestly is because that's really all I have. I don't have this character kitted out very well, so I was just kind of using what I had. Again, we will not benefit from critical hit damage since we are mostly getting the critical hit chance damage with Deadeye here. So it honestly doesn't matter. You can just kind of use your favorites, but what I would probably do 3 points in Gouge AFC. This is the one that will give you action skill cooldown rate because again, getting our action skill back more quickly will always be really good for this build. That's where we want to be most of the time. Then you could maybe do like 1 point in God Killer. This is a one that increases your damage to badass enemies. And then maybe like 1 point in Heating Up, which gives you gun reload speed plus 20%. Because again, we're going to be reloading a lot. But honestly, guys, if you have your favorite firmwares, you can just run those. Just to, again, bear in mind that critical hit chance damage will not benefit from critical hit damage on the firmwares. But other than that, you can pretty much just use whatever you want, or if you want my recommendations, again, I would probably do like 3 Gouge AFC, 1 God Killer, 1 Heating Up, but again, personal preference outside of that. Again, the build is very flexible in terms of stuff like this. The passives on your gear, the firmwares, all of that stuff is honestly not going to hurt the build if you don't even have anything, and you'll see that when we get to the gameplay. And finally, these specializations. Again, this build doesn't really need any specific specializations. I don't even have all of them unlocked, but I'll show what I'm using here. I do have Riddle You This and One Shot One Kill just for damage. I think One Shot One Kill can proc off of like any damage instance, so it might not be as good as it seems for this build, but it's gonna be fine regardless. I'm also using just Sturdy Stuff and Down But Not Out. Down But Not Out gives us better accuracy in Fight for Your Life, and it allows us to ADS, so we don't have to worry about, it's very easy to get up from Fight for Your Life. And then again with Sturdy Stuff, which makes it last longer, and then on a second wind, we fully restore our health. Now, there is, where is it now with Caffeine? If you have the triple bypass, I would probably drop, if you have now with Caffeine unlocked, I would probably drop Sturdy Stuff for it. Because now with Caffeine does work with Apophis Lance now. I think before this last update it was not, but it does now, and that would let you get your action skill back faster, which obviously this is built entirely around. But again, guys, if you have your favorite, specializations, feel free to use them. The build is fine without them, but that's just what I would recommend. So now we'll go do some gameplay, and I'll show you guys just how flexible this build is. Again, the main thing you need to get this off the ground is just a good Jacob shotgun. Could be Hellwalker, Hot Slugger, Dolahan, even again the 7 cents, and the Dancer. The Dancer is really the main piece of specific gear that you need. A Jacob's enhancement can be really good for it too. But yeah, we'll go do a vault. We are going to be on UVHM5, the highest difficulty, and you guys will see this just wrecks everything. This has genuinely become like my favorite go-to build, especially on those days when I'm not playing well, because we all have those days where you just can't hit your shots and you're just not playing well. and this build is like the perfect antidote for that, right? So I'm going to assume that you don't have the Piercer enhancement, so I will play with Oho Rojo. And then again, I'll try to explain the gameplay loop as we're going here, and it's again a very easy build to use. So we'll go ahead and take on one of these vaults here. They're probably some of the hardest content here. Now, we won't even really have to worry about element matching. So I know I'm using a Hellwalker here, which is fire now, and fire is, you know, not the best against these types of enemies, but we'll be fine here if I can land my shots. You do actually still need to land your shots. So you can see the accuracy is really bad at first, but it will quickly improve. And with shotguns, it doesn't even really matter. So again, with Al Centro, that will fix that as time goes on. And if you find that you want to move some points out of Vitriol into Al Centro, you know, feel free to do that. But you can see what I mean. We're not even matching elements, and we're taking these guys out easily. Now, guys, do remember with Jacob's shotguns, you can manually reload. So I'll show you that after my action skill ends here. So yeah, you can see we're just deleting them. And this is a build that should be pretty nerf resilient. It's not really relying on any broken obvious synergies or exploits or anything like that. So I really don't know how it could get nerfed. And you can see what I mean. Look how long this is lasting. Oh, that guy ragdolled. But yeah, I'll show you the manual reload thing here in a second. And then see, we got some action skill cooldown rate there. All right, so we'll go ahead and take him out. Oh, excuse me, we did not get the action skill cooldown rate because we didn't have Sangre or Sangre. But here is a regular reload. So this is me just shooting and letting the game automatically reload. Now I'll start shooting and pressing X. So when you press X, you can actually reload much more quickly, and that will give you much more damage, right? So make sure you're doing that. Even when Apophis Lance is active, you still reload faster. It's just the animation doesn't always play when Apophis Lance is out, but you're still reloading faster when you manually press X. So we just use the Hellwalker. We'll try to use some different weapons here. Obviously, everyone likes the Hot Slugger, and it is awesome. It is a lot of fun. It's very, very good, very stylish weapon. All right, so again, I'm going to activate my action skill. I'm going to shoot once, and then we'll just start charging it. And again, we're just destroying everything. Yeah, I mean, honestly, part of the struggle with this build is like finding the enemies to kill them. Because you just mow enemies down so quickly. So you can see, again, that's really good. And we'll try the non-unique one now. So even the non-unique Dullahan here is just destroying these guys. We got these modifiers, which are super fun. And I'm glad Gearbox keeps trying to put modifiers like this into the games. Hopefully Borderlands 5 will just be entirely modifiers. But yeah, you can see that's just destroying them. We'll try the Seventh Sense here. Again, it's just destroying. So this is not like YouTuber, oh, this build is so good, it destroys everything. It really does destroy everything. And it's just super easy to use. Again, you don't even have to be able to shoot. And it's that good. So you can see how long we were able to wipe out the enemies before our action skill even runs out, you know. So now I will spec into Sangre por Sangre and just show you guys how I would play with it. Again, the only difference is you don't really need to shoot to get the extra critical damage. And then when the action skill ends, you will actually obviously get the better cooldown rate. So you can see what I mean about how flexible the build is. Again, I don't have the firmwares I need and everything, or the, you know, I don't have my firmwares optimized and all that stuff. It just doesn't really matter. All right, so now I'm just gonna start charging it. We don't need to shoot now because we're not using Ojo Rojo. And we do have the underbarrel, which will be nice if we have any like vile enemies. I would recommend the shotgun underbarrel for the vile enemies, of course. Oh, we'll have to start charging again. Yeah, if you mantle or something, you will have to start charging again. And again, this is a build that should be this good for the entire lifetime of the game. I don't see how this build could ever not be good because, again, it's not using any obvious broken synergies or anything that could be potentially nerfed. And again, if you get like a legendary Jacob's enhancement with the perfect passives and all this stuff, that would be even better, right? So let's see, sometimes the 7th Sense with this build. Okay, so look, even the 7th Sense is good with this build for dealing with vile enemies. So you don't even need the underbarrel. And that's all, is that all the enemies? So yeah. Took them out easily, and now we'll go deal with the boss. Now again, for a boss, I would recommend you can take Sangre por Sangre or Ojo Rojo. Again, it depends on if you have Piercer or not, which again is the Jacob's enhancement that gives you an extra 20% critical chance with Jacob's parts. We'll just go ahead and stick with Sangre por Sangre. Oh, I guess if you just wanted more marks and if you felt like you had enough action skill cooldown rate, you could even just take Battery Subscription Service. This will give you an additional charge, right? So you know what, for bossing, let's just try this. What we'll do is we'll take Battery Subscription Service. This will give us 4 charges. Then we can shoot Apophis Lance 3 times on the boss, which will put 3 marks on them. And again, they'll take 20% damage for each mark. And then we can charge the 4th and final shot. So we'll deal with this Vault monster right here, and we'll do that. Okay, take 2 on the boss fight, because I just realized that I did not activate my kill skills. Remember, we do need Soltado here to get our overdrive bonuses doubled. So if you're fighting a boss with mobs, you need to get a kill skill. It can boss without it. I killed the boss easily without it, but I just remembered I didn't activate any kill skills, so I'm going to redo the boss fight. We also have 3 points in sustainable energy here, which gives us health regeneration. And again, this is an overdrive skill, so it will be boosted with this build. That's just kind of a free bonus we got. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll activate the Encore, get our ammo back up. Now again, I am spec'd into, excuse me, let's go to skills here. Again, you can take Battery Subscription Service if you want the extra marks. You can take Ojo Rojo if you want the extra critical chance. You know, you can take Sangre por Sangre if you want the cooldown rate. It's really, you know, whatever you want. I think, again, just for some variety, we'll try Battery Subscription Service, which will, again, let us get 3 marks. So we'll go ahead and do this. We'll go over here. Again, we'll activate the kill skill. I did forget to activate the kill skill the first time, so we'll do that, because this boss does have mobs. Almost every boss in this game has mobs, so we'll get him to come down here. And then, don't other enemies spawn here? Yep, there's other enemies, so we'll activate this. Oh, I missed my shots. There we go. So now we got our kill skills up. So we'll try to shoot him 3 times, and then we'll charge the final shot. Then we'll just start shooting. Hopefully he will land. He's a little bit harder to hit if he will not land. I got another kill skill. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes this guy just likes to fly around. There's so many flying bosses in this game that kind of just dick around and waste your time. All right, so he's finally landed. We'll get another kill skill. So as you can see, this is effective, but not like mindlessly broken, which those are the kinds of builds I like. Builds which are good, but not just instant melt strategies. So again, it is a very good build, but it's not like Bleed Vex broken. I don't know why I only use the 7th Sense. Obviously, you could use these shotguns and probably get better damage. But for some reason, I use the 7th Sense. And you can see we had the action skill active the whole entire time, and we just got a legendary there. So again, obviously, you could use the shotguns. Obviously, if you've got the spread launcher with an amp roll on the rep kit, that would do work too. But even if you don't, even if the only thing you have is like a 7th Sense, even that will work really well with this build. So again, a very versatile build. It doesn't really require any specific gear or anything. Got a Calcin, except the Dancer. Again, the Dancer is the one kind of like specific thing that we need. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know if you've used a similar build. Let me know if there's tweaks you've made with the build like this. If there's other specific gear that you like with this build, feel free to share any of that. Again, check out the Mobalytics page. It is genuinely full of really good information. It shows where to get all the gear. It shows, you know, it's got shift codes. It's got tips for using the weapons and stuff. There's lots of builds, all kinds of stuff. And again, remember, this is not like a perfect version of this. There's definitely like legendary enhancements and better passives and stuff, but again, it's a very easy to set up build. But again, thanks for watching, guys, and an extra special thank you to all of my members. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, again, do please consider checking out the Mobalytics page. Do please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know if you'd like to see other builds. And most importantly, stay safe and be here next time.